In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, one God, Amen. The psalm of this day, as we just heard, it says, "And the heavens will praise your wonders, O Lord. Your faithfulness also in the assembly of the saints," which is the church. "Blessed are the people who know the joyful sound. They walk, O Lord, in the light of your countenance or of your face." So this psalm really tells us that the heavens is praising the Lord, but us, the assembly of the saints, whenever we assemble, we also praise and we declare his faithfulness. And blessed, lucky, blessed, happy those people who know how to joyfully praise, who have a joyful sound. And if you remember, when we first started, I used to encourage all of you to praise, right? And to sing with the deacons and to engage in this act of worship, because to reap the whole benefit of worshiping God in his house, in his presence, we have to be active participants. And I used to tell you so many times, but then this psalm was a very good reminder that we are missing a great blessing if we are not giving joyful sound, if we are not worshiping the Lord for his faithfulness, for his wonders, for his love, for his acts. And then I also reflected on yesterday's feast of the Transfiguration. And you all know Jesus went on Mount Tabor and he appeared in his glory. His face shone brighter than the sun. And they found Moses and Elijah with him. So Peter, along with James and John, they were so taken by this awesome appearance. And they scrambled to do what should be done. And they said, Peter said that it is so good to be here, O Lord, what we can do. Let us help. Let us bring a tent, do this, do that. And then a cloud came and a sound came out of this cloud and just quieted everybody who was trying to do something else other than gazing at Christ. And this sound told them, as you all know, "This is my beloved Son, to him you shall hear." And you may find me repeating this every year because I am taking by the following verse. They all went on their faces, and then when the sound stopped, they all lifted up their eyes, and it says this, "And they saw no one but Jesus alone." After all the glory, after the busyness of this scene, and after this voice, "This is my Son, to him only you shall listen." They lifted up their eyes and they saw no one but Jesus alone. So why we are not joyfully praising God, why we are not joyfully engaging in the act of worship, I believe maybe two reasons for the lack of time now. One is that whenever we lift up our eyes, we see many people in addition to Christ. Our eyes are so busy, and our minds, our hearts are so busy doing good things. Like Peter, he wanted to have a tent for Moses and Elijah, and he wanted to do something, and it is good. Let me serve, let me do something for you. It is great to be here and be part of this event. So we are busy with good things. But the lesson here, but the message here is that when they lift up their eyes, they saw no one except Jesus. No Moses, no Elijah, no glory, no light brighter than the sun, nothing. And the remaining fact and the remaining truth that will surpass all the miracles, all the saints, all the glory, all the vanity of this world, is that saw no one except Jesus alone. And the second reason is that our hearts and our minds are divided because of our fallen human nature. We are broken people. We are prone to follow our weaknesses. We are prone to have sin inside of us. And whenever we speak about sin, it does not mean that we are bad people. No, because good people also sin. Even the saints we hear in the Synaxarium, they have sins. So being a saintly person does not mean that it's a sin-free life. Don't ever think about that. But being a saint means you are mindful of your shortcomings. You are aware of your weaknesses. And you try to avoid them. And you try to overcome them because you have a goal. So number one, we're so busy with doing many things except worshiping and serving Christ for his own goodness. We may be serving or doing things for the church because we feel satisfaction. Gives us value, gives us significance, gives us a sense of meaning, which is all good. But if this sense of meaning and value and significance takes us away from gazing and seeing no one except Christ, so this service is not really hitting the mark. And number two, again, if our hearts are divided between loving the world and loving Christ, and we hear every time in the Catholic epistle at the end, do not love the world or the things of the world, because the world will go in vain. Let me conclude with a few verses from the book of Hebrews. And also, before I say that, if we look at our perfect example of Saint Mary, whom we are fasting for and asking for her intercessions, despite all the glory of giving birth to Christ and the angels appearing to her, and she acknowledges the fact that she will bear the Son of God, the most two verses that are very popular and very known by her is that after all she received the news, she said that, I am your servant, let it be according to your word. I am your servant, but not because of the glory, not because of that it's good to be here, but because just being your servant and sitting at your feet, being your servant and declaring your name to people, and being a Christian, being a believer, that's enough. I am your servant. Let it be according to your word. So it's very important to when we come to church, we come to serve, we come to worship. Let's try not to be busy with the things around us. Let's not try to be busy of how things should be, how things are not as they should be. But because if we gaze at Christ alone, everything will fall into place. Let me just end from Hebrews 12, verses 1. Therefore, we also, since we are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight. Let us not to be distracted when we come and in our life, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily ensnares us. Let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. Remember, they lifted up their eyes and saw no one except Jesus alone. When you run in a race, your eyes are on the finish line. You're not busy with the people and with the crowd cheering. Your only goal is to arrive at this finish line. Let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith. Looking unto Jesus, the author, he is the source and the finisher of our faith, who will perfect you, who will complete you. So even with all our human brokenness, he will complete you. If you pay attention, when we pray the commemoration of the saints in the beginning, Abuna or I say that, and all the saints who were perfected in the faith. What does it mean? That the author of our faith will perfect you. This is the good news. That when you come to church, be glad and joyfully worship. Why? Because despite your weaknesses and your shortcomings, you're coming to be cleansed, to be renewed. And because the author of our faith, Christ, will perfect you, who can complain against you? Like the verse in Romans, if God is with us, who is against us? Nobody. Not even yourself, not even the doubts, the guilt, the shame, or the people, or the shoulds of our culture or of our community. Nobody. If God is with us, who will be against us? Why? Because he is the perfecter. He will complete you. He will perfect you to be holy and to be ready to see him and to live with him forever. And this is why we should rejoice. This is why we should not be busy with anything. Not Peter, not George, not Elijah, not Moses. You know what? They are all witnesses and saints around us to encourage us and to inspire us, but they are not the goal. Serving Christ only for his sake, for his glory. So let us purify ourselves. And even if we are still in between, and we are all in between, let us pull ourselves into just looking at Christ alone. And this means in your daily life, in your troubles and your challenges, when you go to work, when you go to school, when you deal with difficult people in your life, train yourself to focus at Christ alone. And from him and through his eyes, he will strengthen you and he will give you a way to handle life's problems. Because life is hard, life is tough. And the only guarantee and the only way to navigate through this life is to seeing no one except Christ alone. If you waste your time busy with people who did this, who said that, you're just wasting your time for a worthless cause. Because people are changing, people are like you and me, weak, difficult, and the only hope we have and the only way we have to manage living this life is having the true hope, which is Christ. So if you have any problems, just lay it aside and come and focus and see no one except Christ alone. So I'll give you another reminder, as I used to do in the beginning. Let us all in this liturgy pray with one voice, one loud voice, because he is worthy to be praised. Blessed are those who have a joyful sound. Blessed are those people who know the joyful sound. So it is up to you. Up to you if you want to receive the blessing, if you want to experience the true worship, it is up to you. Engage in this joyful worshiping. Engage in this, in having a joyful sound. And today we'll say, Ifrah ya Maryam for St. Mary, and let us all say it together. We all know it. And whatever hymns we will say, let us be loud. It is a sign of a happy and saved people. But if two or three deacons are just saying and we are just waiting until they finish, it is not a joyful environment. It's so boring, right? We're not here to be bored. We're here to rejoice because our God is an awesome God. And He is worthy, and He is faithful, and He deserves our praises. Even if we don't feel like it emotionally, do it with faith. Do it with the power of the mind, of faith. Faith means thinking. It does not depend on emotions. We are tired. We've had a long week maybe, and we're so busy thinking about next week, about tomorrow. And this is our emotions, up and down. But let us praise in faith, meaning that, God, you are worthy of at least when I am in your house, you are worthy of my full attention. To Him all glory.